Riffical Records presents the Projekt Gemineye Update with your host, Mark Anthony K. Greetings, friends, and welcome to a very special episode of the Projekt Gemineye Update, this being episode number 38. So as you all know, we're about a week or so, or maybe longer, into the pre-order of the new album, A Brand New Day pre-order for the CD. It's going very well. I thank everybody so far who has participated in the pre-order. I know there's still quite a few of you who are still yet to put your order in. Excuse me. And that's cool. I mean, I know things come up and life gets in the way with things, so I'm perfectly cool with that. But the reason for this video is I'd like to go through the songs on the new album, maybe in a little bit more detail, and maybe give you guys a little bit of a sample of each song so you know maybe what you're getting into. This is in no way or reason, well, let's put it this way. I'm not doing this because I think that, you know, it needs some kind of extra push or anything. I'm just doing this because on the last record, I wanted to go over those songs in more detail, and I still will, but rather than wait, I figured now that I have a bit of time, I should go through it now, and I'll go through them in a little bit more detail and just talk a little bit about them and play a little sample of them. So rather than me blabbering on like this, let's get on to the songs. So the first song on the record is A Brand New Day, which is the title track of the album. This song has already been posted up and is available to listen to on Bandcamp. So let me just talk a little bit about this song. So this song was actually the last song that was written when I did the whole recording session. Basically, for those of you who do not know, An Ordinary Day, which was the first album, and this one, A Brand New Day, were recorded all at once in one big session. So I ended up, as you know, splitting them into two records. This song was the last song written during that session. And it's interesting, I found that when I wrote this song, I was very much in a groove with my writing. I was very happy with the way the songs are writing. And in retrospect, when I think back to this now, I think it might have been a mistake to have stopped my recording sessions at that point and writing sessions. And I think I maybe should have just continued writing, because at that point I had been doing my recording of songs in chunks. And more importantly, my song writing of them and demoing I had done in groups of 4. And then when I had all the songs I liked made, I went ahead and did the proper recordings for them. So I think that I should have maybe continued writing, because at that time when I had finished writing A New Day, I felt like I was really in the groove and could have possibly wrote another 3 or 4 more songs. And just like most things, I find that when you're in that groove and in that momentum that you have, it's best to continue doing it, because if you stop and leave it for a while and then come back to it, you have that period of when you have to start getting the wheels spinning again and picking up that steam again. Not to say that I need like weeks and weeks to write a song. That's definitely not it at all. But I think that I would have had a lot of other songs left over that maybe I could have used for this record. But, I mean for the next record, not this record. But I'm very happy with this song, the way it turned out. And I think it's a song that I also like lyrically as well. The whole idea of looking forward to tomorrow and forgetting about the past is something that is very it's very important to me as a person, having gone through a lot of stuff, not only just with my leg, pardon me, but with all kinds of different things that happened through my life, whether it was the passing of my father, whether it was overcoming certain addictions and stuff like that. Going forward is the sort of mindset I think that's important to do if you want to overcome a lot of things and just have a decent life. You have to think about tomorrow, be excited about tomorrow, and A Brand New Day, I think, is one of those songs that sort of epitomizes that whole way of thinking. So let's take a quick listen to a little bit of a Brand New Day here.
The smell of the autumn air brings joy to my mind. It feels so good to leave this behind. I wait in my room. It's time to begin. It's a new day. I can't wait to start again. I feel renewed. A new goal is in view.
Okay, the next song on the record is a song called Clear Your Mind. This song, ironically, was the second last song written for the record. And I find that this one has a little bit more commercial element to it, definitely in the chorus. Especially, I find that my love of some commercial rock might have seeped into this one. Living in a household where all kinds of music was listened to, whether it was Elton John or ABBA or Black Sabbath or whatever, there was a lot of music floating around, and a lot of music was absorbed. For example, I just saw this in my review here, that's why I'm going to pick it up. The Police. I mean, there was lots of records that I was listening to at the time, and there's nothing wrong with a melodic chorus, I find. I mean, melody to me is the thing that makes a song strong. If you don't have a good melody or something that people will remember, why will they go back to your song? They'll just go on to the next thing. So a strong hook, a good melody is important. I think Clear Your Mind has that in it in spades. Lyrically speaking, Clear Your Mind came about within the context of the story. It was just at that point in my recovery where I had decided to stop worrying about all the things that could happen or what could happen if I don't do this or that, and as far as my recovery, and just clear my mind and just focus on the good stuff and move forward was sort of the topic of that. In another instance, the way the song lyrics really came about was there was a time during the writing of the lyrics where I believe there might have been something going on with a family matter, and rather than let it overcome me, I did something that I like to do in order to clear my own mind, and that is I drove in my car for a little bit and went to a spot that I like going to, which is the Brampton Airport. It's a little spot, about 20 minutes drive from my house in the country, and it's a small independent little airport where a lot of propeller planes come in and out, and there's also a sort of a flight training school there. So I like sitting there and watching these planes come in and out of the runway, because you can park really close to the runway actually, and watching these planes come in I find very relaxing and very soothing. So that to me is kind of my personal clear your mind area, and I couldn't help but find myself sitting there actually when I wrote the lyrics to this song. So it's kind of ironic how that scenario came into play with the writing of my lyrics. So that's Clear Your Mind, a little bit about that. I guess from a musical standpoint as well, that was also a song that I kind of experimented a little bit more with my guitars. I tended to use a lot of my SGs and my Les Pauls for the recording of this record. More the SGs more than anything else I found. But for those kind of clean guitar tones that I had, especially at the top of the song, and that appears later on in the song, my Strat came in very handy for that. So a little bit there about the technical side of things as well. So let's pull up Clear Your Mind and let's take a quick listen to that song.
Clear your mind, and you
Okay, song 3, The Long Ride. I'm a big fan of instrumental music, being a fan of Yes, Rush, Gentle Giant, King Crimson. These are all bands that usually have instrumental songs on their albums, and I've grown to love those types of songs. So, as like in the first record, this record also has an instrumental song in it as well. This song was motivated by the actual hospital ride that I had. I tried to get the feel of that sort of shock and half in a daze feel almost of being in in the ambulance at that time and going to the actual hospital. Yes, that actually was more in the song The Journey, that element of it, but I also found that some of the feel that I had in that leaked into this as well. And also, truth be told, what ended up happening was the long ride also represented the actual going into the hospital, that feeling of the gurney being pulled into the hospital, and that feeling of staring up at the ceiling and just seeing those lights running past you overhead as you're being pulled in to the emergency room. And the rather odd feeling and a rather just a strange feeling. So I tried to get that across a bit on this song. Now, there's nothing really crazy going on in it, but I wanted to kind of give it a kind of somber feel to it. So I hope that kind of came across in this instrumental. It was a little hard for me, I found, to get that exact feel from the lead playing of it, because you had to kind of get yourself back in that mindset, and that's something that I didn't really want to get myself back into. It wasn't a very pleasant experience, but I think it worked out for the best. I mean, I remember reading a story once about Steve Vai when he recorded the lead guitar parts for a song called For the Love of God, which is on the Passion and Warfare album. He actually said that he had stopped playing guitar for a little while on purpose and played the lead after a few weeks of not playing, so that his fingers would become so sore that the pain of it he thought would translate into his playing. He had a nice picture of his fingers where they were almost like bloodied under the skin from his playing, from not having played so long, and claiming that that emotion that he felt in that moment translated into the playing. And that's something what I was trying to kind of get without having to go to that extreme, of course. So I think I caught a lot of it in there. So I'm pretty happy with this song. So let's take a quick listen to The Long Ride. Song 4. This is a song called Space and Time, and for me, this is the song that I think is my favorite off of this record. It is the longest song on the record, but it's also, I think, the one that has a lot of really cool moods in it, and it's the song that I kind of broke up into 3 parts. If you notice on the track listing when you see it, obviously you'll see that it's broken to 3 separate song titles. It's obviously called Space and Time, but there's like 3 parts, and it broken in almost like a little mini concerto or something, or a mini it's like a suite or something. part 1 being Awake with the Dawn, part 2 being Racing with the Stars, and part 3 being Return to Earth. Now, probably wondering what those titles mean. This song based around the day that I had my operation for my leg, because when I first came in there, they had to sedate me. They kind of just stabilized my leg, and I didn't have the actual proper operation to put the steel plate in, I think, until the next day. Yeah, I think, because I was so drugged out of my mind at that point. I didn't remember much, to be honest with you. And basically the song starts with the awaking of that morning, Awake with the Dawn, and leads you through that whole kind of morning and how I felt and so on. And it starts picking up and getting really sort of heavier with Racing with the Stars, where I was put under, and I literally remembered that feeling when being put under, of just going out into the ether, as they would say, and just having this sort of wonderful feeling of being separated from your body for a little while during the operation. And, you know, obviously they had to do that to you because probably wouldn't have felt very good having some sort of awareness of what was going on, you know, having things drilled into your leg. So Racing with the Stars definitely epitomizes that whole feel of being put under and just racing with the stars out there, just being alone in, you know, your whole mind and body, and just, you know, it's a really strange feeling. I guess it's difficult to explain unless you've been in that situation, but hopefully musically and the way the song is mixed, especially if you listen to it on headphones, it will give you that whole kind of feeling of what it was like. Part 3 being the Return to Earth. The end of part 2, there's sort of a little stop in there, and then it gets into this sort of tribal drum dun part that comes in, and it's very almost like anthemic at this part, and it slows down a little bit. It's a little bit of a slower part, but it definitely, I wanted to give it that feel of where, you know, you're racing through the stars, they're floating through space, and all of a sudden just bam, something happens and you're like, whoop, stopped, and then it's like you're just falling back towards Earth, back into your body again. And I really thought I captured that with this song. It's very much like the forced landing back into your body. So hopefully this film seems to make sense to you if you listen to it, and it doesn't sound like I'm some kind of nut bar here. But that's definitely how I kind of approached it. And lyrically, the lyrics are supposed to kind of give you that. Most of the lyrics are for part 1, which is Awake with the Dawn. Part 2 doesn't have too much lyrics. It just basically stemmed around a very melodic chorus part, which is the whole Racing with the Stars part. So this is a really good song. I really love it. There's lots of different things in it. There's all kinds of B3 organ. There's lots of electric guitar stuff, different guitar solo parts, lots of harmonized vocals too. So I think this is a really, really strong song, and I think it'll be probably one of the ones that people will like from this release. So let's take a listen to this song. This is Space and Time.
Awake with the dawn. The time has come to fix the broken bone
Okay, song 5 is a song called The Incident. Now, what could this be possibly about? Well, it's about the actual incident of the leg breaking. Lyrically, it's a total no-brainer. I mean, if you read this, it just describes the moment that it happened. But the opening line being something that I still kind of chuckle at now when I read it now and hear it is "the scream heard around the world" is the opening line. And that's what it kind of felt like when it happened, because that pain was pretty intense. And, you know, at 5 o'clock in the morning, seeing several houses turning their lights on in the middle of the morning, it must have been a pretty damn loud scream. Musically, this is much more heavier. The last 2 songs in this record are definitely the heaviest songs, I believe, on this record. And I think that a lot of people who are into the more guitar heavy and drum heavy parts of the first record will really enjoy this part of the record as well. Lots of dual lead stuff going on in this one. And it definitely captures that intensity of the leg being broken. So I don't know much more what more I could say about this one as far as message, because it's pretty simple. You know, it's about the leg breaking. As far as the playing of it, this one was a lot more fun, I found, to record, because it was a lot more, you know, balls out, you know, pedal to the metal sort of guitar playing to it. Again, I used my Gibson SG for this one. I believe actually I used my Tony Iommi signature SG for the lead guitar playing on this one. When you want to go heavy, Tony Iommi's your man. Black Sabbath, right? So, yeah, this song definitely has a heavy edge to it, and definitely signifies that painful moment to me. So let's take a listen to The Incident.
Ambulance. Its siren song is singing on the wind. The day not forgotten, so clear in my mind. A painful episode invaded my life. The day not forgotten, so clear in my mind. The day the incident invaded my life.
Okay, and the last song is called Sell Your Soul. Now, basically, from a lyrical point of view, this song was about that point during my recovery where I kind of hit a wall, where I felt like I was doing pretty good, but I didn't reach that hump there that I needed to get over to get myself to that point where the nurses and doctors felt that I was going to be good enough to leave the hospital and go home. And at that point, I was getting really fed up with being at the hospital and wanted to go home. So it almost felt like I was having this internal battle with myself, you know, trying to will myself to do what I needed to do physically to reach that point. And it almost felt like I was willing to sell my soul to be able to do that, because I really wanted to get the hell out of there, like you wouldn't believe at that point. So this song lyrically is really about that, about wanting to do whatever it takes to get yourself out of there. And sometimes saying that while I was doing this, I noticed that some people around me in the physio place just didn't want to make that effort. It almost seemed like some of them just had given up at that point, and I really didn't want to be one of those people. So that's a little bit of insight from the lyrical point of it. Musically, another heavy song. I really love it. A lot of Iron Maiden influence in this. I could hear it now more than I ever did when I was writing it, because when you're writing it, you're kind of in a blinders to what you're doing. And listening to it after it was mixed and mastered, I was like, wow, has total Maiden elements in it, especially in the middle section of the part before the guitar solo. I think is very Iron Maiden-ish, and nothing wrong with that. I love Iron Maiden. In fact, it's probably one of my top 5 bands of all time. So if you like the Maiden-ish kind of stuff, then you'll really love this stuff. Well, you really love this song and the stuff that's within it. A lot of the double guitar playing as well. And I think this one has some really stellar drumming in it as well. And I like the way the chorus turned out. Again, some more harmonized vocals. That is not as Iron Maiden-ish, but I think the whole feel of it is very more leaning on the progressive metal side of stuff rather than the progressive rock side of things. I think the whole album pretty much is leaning more towards the progressive metal end of the spectrum. So let's take a quick listen to Sell Your Soul, which is the last song on the album. Okay, so there you have it. The 6 songs that are on the new record, A Brand New Day, coming out December 1st. And yeah, I hope that this gives you a little bit more insight to the record. Maybe gives you a little bit more of a feel of what to expect. People have been asking if I will indeed be making a vinyl version of this record. I certainly will be doing that, so rest assured there will be a vinyl. But the CD is my focus right now. And I hope that a lot of you will pick up on that and grab the CD, because I think it's going to turn out really good. The packaging looks great, and the pressing has always been really well done. Again, I did it through the last company that did my last stuff as well, so the quality will be just as good, if not better. I'm very sure of that. So I look forward to getting this record out to you guys. Again, thank you very much to everybody who has been supporting this project, supporting this album. And just a little note for you guys as well. We're coming up on December. Today is November 21st. I've laid out a little bit of a plan for myself for the next couple of weeks. I will be preparing the Christmas Gemineye Club package, which I'm really excited about, guys. I got a lot of stuff prepared for you guys. You guys really deserve it. You've been very supportive, so I'm looking forward to getting this package out to you guys. And in December, I will be also putting time aside to write the 3rd record. I've already started and have parts of it done, but I'm going to do a really focused writing session through all of December to get myself ahead of the game. James McCarthy has already started on the album cover for the 3rd album, which is fantastic. Can't wait to see what he comes up with. And yeah, I think things are rolling full steam ahead. People have asked also about live appearances. Will I be playing live? I plan on it. I don't know yet when that'll happen, but I'm hoping 2018 will mark the return of me on stage and bringing Projekt Gemineye to a stage near you. Definitely, it will be Toronto and Montreal and stuff like that to start with, but we'll see what happens, one step at a time, right? So I think that's it for now. If I've forgotten anything, then I'll pick it up on the next Projekt Gemineye update. So until then, this is Mark Anthony K saying bye for now, and I hope you guys have a great day.